Hi there, my name is Miss Townsend and I love math. Welcome to Math with Townsend. This video is for grade 10 students who are working on the year-end summative. From that package, it's question 16b in the trigonometry section. The question says to solve each triangle and round your answers to the nearest tenth. So I'm given in question B information about triangle RST. So I always like to have at least some sort of visual so I can set up my triangle information appropriately. And again, I'm not trying to measure or make this diagram at all accurate. I just want to make sure that I have the right references for the sides. So because it's triangle RST, we know that the vertices are labeled with capital R, capital S, and capital T. And I know that the sides, so this side here, you can call it RT, or you can call it side S. This side could be labeled RS or little t. And the third side, you could call it side ST or little r. So what is the information that I have? Well, I know that ST is 30 centimeters. So this side is 30 centimeters. I know that information. Angle R is 35 degrees and angle T is 56 degrees. So again, obviously this is not a scaled or measured diagram at all because it sure looks like an equilateral, but it's just a triangle, so I have my references. Now my goal is to solve the triangle, and what that means is I need to find the measurement of all missing angles and all missing sides. So what I'm missing is I don't know the measure of angle S, I don't know the length of this side, and I don't know the length of this side. So first of all, before I do anything else, I know that it's going to be very quick for me to find the measure of angle S because I have two of the three angles in a triangle. And in any triangle, the sum of the angles is 180. So let's do that before we do anything else. So I know that angle S is going to be equal to 180 minus whatever the angles are that I have. So I have a 35 degree angle and I have a 56 degree angle. So that means that I now know that the angle of measure S is 89 degrees. So I've already done one of the parts that I need. So now that I know that this angle, angle S, is 89 degrees, now I can look and see what I'm going to do as my next trick. So obviously I don't have a right angle in this triangle. So that means I can't use anything like the Pythagorean theorem, and I can't use the basic trig ratios, which we normally refer to as the SOHCAHTOA idea. So that means I'm either going to use the sine law or the cosine law. Well, for me to use the sine law, I need to know the measure of an angle and the measure of the side opposite it. And angle R is known, and so is side R, and that means I'm allowed to use the sine law. So let's go ahead and use the sine law. So this is what the sine law looks like that you probably memorized. Now obviously this triangle is not with A, B, and C, so let me write it again, but I'll use the letters in this particular question. So sine R over R is sine S over S, and that's also sine T over T. So what information do I know? I know all of the angles, and I know the length of this side. So again, to use the sine law, you need to know one complete fraction. So I'm going to start by finding S. So sine R, so angle R is 35 degrees, over side R, which was 30, because again, remember ST, it was also side R. And that equals sine S. Now S is the one I just calculated, which was 89 degrees, over side S. So side S is the thing I don't know, so I'm just going to use a little s. So now that I've done this, I just have to solve using good principles of algebra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not type anything into my calculator just yet. I'll save that for the end. But I am going to cross multiply. So again, cross multiply is a shortcut to dealing with a proportion, meaning an equation with a single fraction equal to a single fraction. So I'm going to multiply sine 35 times s. So that would look like this. And I know we don't normally capitalize sine. I just wanted to, differentiate it from side s. And then, so that's this cross. And then this cross is 30 times sine 89. And again, my goal is to isolate s. So now, to isolate s, I now want to get rid of, through division, the multiplication of sine 35. So on both sides, I'm going to divide by sine 35. And that means, ooh, look at that, 3. That side s is equal to 30 times sine 89 divided by sine 35. And now I'm ready to type that into my calculator. That's just my preference for how I use my calculator. Make sure you're comfortable with how to use your calculator. Again, especially in trigonometry, make sure you know how to make sure that you're in degree mode, and make sure that you know if you're pressing sine 89 or 89 sine, because it does make a huge difference, obviously. So 30 times sine 89 equals, divided by sine 35. I'm just telling you how I use my calculator. And that tells me that side S is 52.3, what units are we in? 52.3 centimeters. So now I know the length of side S, so now I'm going to try to find the length of side T. So let's just go back to the diagram for a second. Now I know that side S is 52.3, but remember, I can't now use, for example, the Pythagorean theorem. Even though I know two sides, there's no formula for relating the side lengths unless it's a right angle triangle, and this is not. So I'm going to have to use the sine law again. So if we go back here, now I'm going to use the sine law. So I'm going to start again with R, because I knew that from the beginning, that angle R was 35 and side R was 30. And this time I'm going to use T for the other side of the equation. Oops, but I know angle T, so I should probably put that in. So angle T was 56, and that means my unknown, the thing I'm looking for, is side T. So just like before, I'm not going to use my calculator just yet. I'm going to rearrange first. So again, I have an equation equals an equation, so I'm going to multiply across. That equals sine. So T times sine 35 is equal to 30 times sine 56. And then my goal is to find T. So to isolate T, I need to divide by sine 35 on both sides. So on the left, I'm left with T equals, and on the right is the stuff I get to punch into my calculator. So 30 times sine 56 equals, divided by sine 35 equals. So I get that side T is 43.4 centimeters. So my goal was to find all of the missing information, and I did, because now I know that angle S is 89 degrees. Side S, which is also known as side RT, I calculated that, hold on, is 52.3 degrees. And we know that side T, also known as side RS, is 43.4 degrees. And we know all sides and all angles, so we have solved the triangle. I hope that was helpful. My next video will be part C of this question.